You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
The community of Odessa invites you to the 9th annual Thunder on the Prairie's modified truck and tractor pulls, July 4th and 5th. Be there to feel the rumble as these awesome machines tear down the track. There will be monster truck rides, a show and shine, Quappel Valley heavy horse pulls, and pedal tractor pulls for the kids. Plus, live bands Friday and Saturday night in the beer garden. Look for Thunder on the Prairie's July 4th and 5th on Facebook. Brought to you in part by Meridian, Odessa Co-op, Young's Equipment, and Sherwood Co-op.
Employee pricing is back at Capital GMC in Regina.
Capital GMC!
What does it all mean?
You pay what we pay.
And it means savings up to $12,000 on new Sierra 1500s and savings up to $20,000 on new HDs. Or take advantage of 0% financing on select models. Or check out our certified pre-owned inventory. They all come with 30-day exchange privilege, manufacturer's warranty, and more.
Do not miss employee pricing.
At Capital GMC in Regina.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. Sportscage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com and our YouTube channel. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
5 o'clock kickoff tomorrow. We start things right here on the Rider Broadcast Network at 2 p.m. The whole gang will be here. It is presented by Sega tomorrow. Saskatchewan. I always butcher this name. Colson, do you want to help out? Anyways, you can party in the park. You get a chance. First 5,000 fans getting a little prize, getting a little treat when they walk in the stadium as well.
Saskatchewan, I think it was.
Saskatchewan. Yeah. The new logo. It's colorful. This year, if you haven't seen it, are the Indigenous themed logo. Same artist as at first, I was like, it's got some orange in it, and then I thought it was an elephant when I looked from far away, and then I'm like, no, it's a bison, you dummy. And then I figured it all out. So that'll be interesting to see out there tomorrow. If you're just tuning in, I guess we're back on the stream now on the YouTube. Jake Mayer. 28-year-old from Fullerton, California, starting at quarterback for our Saskatchewan Roughriders tomorrow. Trevor Harris taking the day off. He's not even dressing. So today at practice, we hear about Jake Mayer and his thoughts on getting the start.
Yeah, excited. As a backup quarterback on any team, you never know when your number is going to be called. So, I guess for the team, it's obviously bittersweet. Obviously, because you want to be, make sure that everybody's ready to go and healthy and ready to play. But, given the circumstances of the week and kind of how it's all played out, I'm ready to step in and do what I can for the team.
He's played, right? That's why they brought him in. And when we talked about it, when they signed him in the offseason, We were talking about it here in the program, and people are texting in. It's like he's got experience. Now maybe with what happened with Calgary last year, I don't know. You could have probably put a lot of quarterbacks in Calgary last year, and it would have been interesting to see what happened in the blender there. But he has played. It's interesting to hear him talk about what he remembers about his first start as a quarterback.
I barely knew anything. That was like the first game I wore a uniform, because I was in street clothes. I was inactive because the different roster situation that we had during it was basically kind of a COVID season, right, where you only suit up 2 guys. So I was that was my first game suiting up, and I remember just asking Bo at the time, who was on the field, just like, hey man, like all the games like this, because it kind of went back and forth, and you start out, you're not playing well, and then all of a sudden you get hot, and then by the end of the game, the other team's throwing a Hail Mary to try to win. And he goes, yeah, you get used to it. So that was the memory of that night.
And maybe there's something to it, right? The Riders announcing it today, where we said the BC Lions still have Rourke on their depth chart for them. It sounds like he's going to be a game time decision, but the mayor talks about the difference in preparation from knowing that he's the starter to knowing that he might be the starter.
I'm very fortunate because I have experience doing both. Like, I know what it's like to say you wake up every day and know, all right, I'm starting all 18 of these games unless an injury happens or whatever happens. But I also got to live that pretty early with Bo, right? And you really never know, which is why you learn pretty quickly that you just pretend like you're the starter, and then you wake up on game day and you're not, and you're just there just in case. So I have tons and tons of hours logged in terms of that role. So now going into this week, it's like, okay, like there's a question mark there. So now that kind of heightens your urgency for sure, to make sure that when you go in there, the offense doesn't skip a beat, and that's the goal.
The interesting thing is Mayer's last start was against the Riders. So I guess what's it feel like starting for the Riders?
I mean, I feel like for the first 3 weeks, I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this organization and around Coach Mace and the culture that he's created here. You hear a lot about it from the outside, but when you're in these walls, you really feel it. So yeah, to be able to share that real adrenaline with your teammates, and because I would say, if you don't play, you are a supportive teammate and you love to be a part of it, but you don't get really that edge to you, right? That you would get when you're out there and your body's on the line and you're experiencing those real-time moments. So to feel that in front of a home crowd that I know is going to be excited against a division rival, you can say, right? So that's going to be one of those out-of-body experiences that you always look forward to.
And the question we had for Mayor, is there something to prove this week against the Lions?
To myself, my family, my team, absolutely. I kind of talked a little bit about that with the perspective that I'm trying to really lean into. I think I really try to focus on those things in my circle, the people that really are important to me, and any of the outside stuff is respected, but isn't carrying it's not carrying an inappropriate amount of pressure or weight, to say the least. Yeah.
So there it is. That is our starting quarterback, Jake Mayer, tomorrow. Brett in Rollo says, no, he's confident. He's confident in Mayer tomorrow and we still got other injuries on the obviously, some offensive injuries. Receivers, Kean Schaefer-Baker not in the lineup. Emilus not in the lineup. It's all good. Interesting to hear here from Coach Mace on why they decided not to go with Trevor Harris.
We did have a long week after the game last week, but just mapping out the protocol, it didn't line up. So obviously we've got a lot of confidence in Jake, and we are moving into a bye week as well. So a lot of things went into it, but ultimately with those you don't really want to risk it, but there's proper steps to follow, and the timeline just didn't match up.
See, I was wrong again yesterday when Sharky was here, because I thought that they would play the game along with the Lions and making them both game time decisions. So they would dress him, they'd go through things, and then if Trevor wasn't going to play, then they would kind of pull it late. Like I said, when they're folding up the flag, then Jake goes out. So there's probably a lot of strategy and smarter than me sitting here coaching to have Mayer, Cone, Stevens, boom, Trevor, you're not dressing, day off. So the BC Lions still have Rourke as a possibility. Mace talks about on Rourke being listed as a game time decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, as there's a reason coaches do it. It is. That was just one less night I had to hang with my kids. Appreciate it. No, it's you have to be prepared for anybody. I mean, even in this situation, you have to be prepared for Bryce as well. So it's just part of doing your due diligence as a coach and being able to have answers for the guys. And to have them familiar with potentially who they could be playing against, quarterback and any other position, truthfully, but certainly the quarterback position is an important one. So they've seen tape, and we've talked about all three quarterbacks. So however they choose to lay them out there, the guys will be ready to
go. Another night without seeing his kids. I think it was somebody in the text line here, Parker in Brandon, texted and said, I wonder how that changes the defensive game plan, knowing that Rourke probably isn't in the lineup, or will he be? Jeremiah Masoli, I don't know. Turnovers last week hurt him. Wasn't a very good game. Probably he's looking for a bounce back, some redemption if he plays. And no offense, but how many people are we looking at? I haven't looked up Matt Young's Twitter, actually. Let's do that while we're sitting here. How many fans are we expecting tomorrow in the building? I get that it's tough to judge because so many seats have been sold. Who's showing up? The configuration right now, let's see. It's Maddie has it at 28,610 is the current seat capacity, so there's some that haven't been released yet. Tickets sold 26,300, so tickets available 2,300, and then they can release more up top. So it would be nice to see 24,000 actual bodies in there. That'd be the home field advantage that I think we used to have more. Now there's games, the playoff game, Labor Day game, when it is a little packed and more full, that we do have that home field advantage. So we'll see. It's a nice night. It is kind of the weird pseudo long weekend. A lot of people taking the Monday off. Are they out at the lake? A lot of people, that could be good though. A lot of people driving in to see the game. There is somebody on the text line said they're driving an hour and a half to come in tomorrow. Yeah, so 24 would be nice to see. What do you think out there? Text us in 936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line, or heck, call. We got things fixed up here now, 936-6262. Toll free, 1-866-767-0620. Some fun this week at Rider Practice. We had this. We've been sitting on this for a couple of days. It's Shawn Bane Jr., Colson? Shawn Bane Jr., he grabbed Dave Thomas's microphone. He said, give me that. I can do your job. Here's Shawn Bane Jr. interviewing Joe Robicelli.
All right, Joe. So still fresh in this offense, man. So how are we feeling entering Week 4 against BC?
Feeling good, man. Feeling like I'm accumulating more to the offense. I'm ready to go make some things shake this week against BC with my guys here.
Absolutely. In your role, like, how do you think you're being used properly in your current role?
Whatever makes us end up 4-0 at the end of the week is whatever I need them for me. Whatever they need me to do, that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely, well said. And last but not least, man, how are your body feeling? Like, what's the team's energy entering this current Week 4, knowing that there is a bye week the following week?
That's something we're not thinking about. We're focused on going 1-0 this week. We all feel good. We got the energy to go into this week and get the dub, and we're excited to do it.
Absolutely. Back to you guys. Thank you.
Back to you guys. Good throw. That's Shawn Bane Jr. interviewing Joe Robicelli. Try to kind of bait him on the one there. Not bad. Tomorrow is game day. That means KFC's. The End Zone Big Crunch, $4.95. And then the Big Crunch Combo, $7.95 at all participating Saskatchewan KFC. So you get your eat on for a little cheaper. $4.95, the End Zone Big Crunch, or the Big Crunch Combo, $7.95. We start things, like I said, here tomorrow at 2 p.m., 5 o'clock kickoff. The Rider Broadcast Network team, Justin Dunk, Tegan Whitco, Wes Cates, they're all here. We already heard from Luke and, of course, Dave tomorrow as well. We are on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Rider Nation lives on 620 CKRM. I'm Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Tomorrow is game day as the Riders take on the BC Lions. Countdown to kickoff with Justin Dunk and Tegan Whitco's at 2. The pregame show's at 4. And kickoff with Luke Mullender and I is at 5. Saskatchewan Roughrider football on the Cooperators Rider Broadcast Network is brought to you by UFA, Croft Electric, and Stars Lottery. Stream every moment of Rider football at sportscage.com.
At the cabin or on the farm, Access Rural Internet gives you speed and service you can rely on. Right now, get Access Rural Internet for as low as $69.95 a month for 24 months, including free service calls by our local techs, a free Wi-Fi router, and a strong, reliable signal matched by our strong, reliable customer service. Great service is never far away with Access Rural Internet. Visit myaccess.ca to book your free site survey.
There's no easy way, no shortcut or bypass. You get what you get, and then you deal with it the best way you can. That's why Municipal Hail Insurance takes pride in helping you where we can. PMHI is spot loss hail insurance available as a standalone policy or in addition to SMHI or AMHI. Buy online by August 1st using any device, anytime, and earn a 6% discount. Municipal Hail Insurance. Farmers insuring farmers the best way we can for over 100 years.
Hear that? What a tackle.
That Big Crunch wasn't from the tackle, Chris. That's the KFC $4.95 End Zone Big Crunch and $7.95 End Zone Big Crunch combos only on game days.
The End Zone Special, available on Rough Rider game days at participating KFC Sask locations.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Every vodka company claims to be a #1 selling award-winning vodka. But let's face it, they care about awards, not vodka. Bigfoot Vodka is proudly the world's only second-best vodka. It's the perfect everyday, low-cost, high-value vodka. They're perfectly happy to be second-best. While the so-called #1 companies are dusting their meaningless industry awards, Bigfoot is just making good vodka for you. Bigfoot Vodka, refreshingly down to earth. The world's only second-best vodka. Ha ha ha! Bigfoot Vodka. Vodka by the foot.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it. I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
Hey, we're Harvard Media. A few times a year, we love to get together with our favorite businesses and throw a good old-fashioned classic auction.
Whoa!
There's nothing like waiting until the last minute, battling out other bidders, and claiming your prize. We're looking for businesses to join up for our next one. All we need from you is an experience, service, or item like a gift card. In return, we'll serve you up a top-tier ad campaign. No cash needed. This is a trade deal. Check out harvardmedia.com for info. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. For all your hot water needs, call on Reliance Heath today.
Riders Lions tomorrow, 5 o'clock kickoff at Mosaic. Trevor Harris out Jake Mayer in. Coach Mace on if he needs to change anything with Mayer coming in instead of Harris.
I don't think so, man. I think the plan is the plan, and we got full confidence to have to execute with Jake being back there, and again, being enough reps in this league. He's faced a lot of teams, a lot of players, a lot of coordinator defensive play callers, so he's pretty familiar with stuff. So you don't really have to limit too much or change too much when you got a veteran quarterback in there.
Tonight, we got Montreal Hamilton in the league. Montreal 2.5-point favorite. Western Canadian Baseball League. Regina beat Medicine Hat last night 6-5. Back in Med Hat tonight. Swift, Moose Jaw, Weyburn all on the road. Blue Jays take on Boston. They're 5-5 in their last 10. NHL news: Trent Frederick signs an 8-year deal with the Oilers. Darnell Nurse rumored to be on the move. Draft tonight. Roger McQueen, Sasky, little Cole Reshny. Two of the top-ranked Sasky guys supposed to be taken, hopefully in the first round this evening. That's your sports ticker in hour one for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water. Call on Reliance. Hour two, straight ahead, we got the Indigenous Sports Spotlight with 23-year-old Keyshawn Gervais for Freeze Tallman Lumber, and we're going to start it with Ken Wiebe from the Winnipeg Free Press. It is the Sports Cage. Back up and streaming at sportscage.com, and as always on the mighty 620 CKRM.
Proudly broadcasting from Treaty 4 territory, the homeland of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, Saulteaux, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news. A severe thunderstorm watch is once again in effect for Saskatchewan, including Regina and areas in the southeast. Environment Canada forecasters say storms may bring damaging winds, large hail, heavy rain, and the small risk of a tornado. The storms should move east into Manitoba tonight. Strong winds and hail can damage buildings, trees, and cars. Stay alert for updates, and if severe weather hits, head to a basement or a safe interior room. Saskatchewan's former RCMP commanding officer, Rhonda Blackmore, now has a new job with the force. The RCMP says Blackmore has been named Assistant Commissioner of Indigenous and Support Services, replacing Warren Brown, who retired. Blackmore left her old position in early June and is now replaced by an interim commander. Some media reports say Blackmore claimed she was removed after anonymous complaints. RCMP officials will not say if the complaints were filed through a federal integrity office. Part of Saskatchewan's new investment will help people safely step in when they see violence. Changemakers will get over $313,000 to build an active bystanders training program. Another $110,000 will help Catalyst Group evaluate the Safe and Together program, which improves how different service providers work with families and hold violent offenders accountable. These steps are part of a national action plan to end gender-based violence, which aims to make communities safer for everyone. U.S. President Donald Trump says he is terminating all discussions on trade with Canada over a digital services tax that takes effect in a few days. The tax will hit companies like Amazon, Google, Meta, Uber, and Airbnb, with a 3% levy on revenue from Canadian users. Prime Minister Mark Carney says it's all a part of trade discussions.
We'll continue to conduct these complex negotiations in the best interests of Canadians. It's a negotiation.
The digital services tax will apply retroactively, leaving those American companies with a $2 billion bill on June 30th. The Canadian economy contracted 0.1% in April as the manufacturing sector slowed in the face of U.S. tariffs. Statistics Canada says April marked the first full month of tariffs from the United States in many sectors, particularly targeting Canada's steel, aluminum, and auto industries. The Bank of Canada is closely looking at the data as it gets set to make its next interest rate decision next month. The central bank recently held its policy rate steady at 2.75% because policymakers said they didn't know enough about how the tariff dispute would unfold. And Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says reopening a landmark intersection to pedestrians for the first time in more than 4 decades represents a historic moment for the city. Gillingham was among a group of dignitaries who took a walk across Portage Avenue and Main Street. The intersection has been closed to pedestrians since the late 70s. Gillingham says reopening the area will help to revitalize the city's downtown.
Now, reopening this intersection isn't a silver bullet. It's not the answer to all of Winnipeg downtown challenges. But it's important for the progress that we are making, step by step, block by block, to build a downtown for everyone.
About 100 people, including some horn honkers, sign wavers, and dog walkers, eagerly watched as the city hosted a ceremony to officially open Portage in Maine. That is your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Bidding is now open on the famous Estevan Motor Speedway timed online 5-day auction. This is one of Saskatchewan's largest auctions. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, hundreds of lots of farm and livestock equipment, dozens of fifth wheels and RVs, huge selection of snow machines, quads and side-by-sides, cars, trucks, and acreage equipment. Gates open daily, 9 to 5 all weekend long in Estevan, Saskatchewan. Bidding closes this Monday, June 30th, starting at 10 a.m.
0% financing at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Remember 2019 when you could find a vehicle and rates didn't make you cry? Well, it's kind of like that again. The inventory is here, the rates are low, and you've got tons of options. Durangos, Rams, Compasses, Cherokees, the gang's all here, and they're all at 0% financing OAC. Plus, Cash for Clunkers is back. That means a guaranteed $2,500 trade when you buy with us. 0% financing is back at Crestview Chrysler in Regina.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina, serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Tonight, clearing and a low down to 13 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny, maybe a scattered afternoon shower, thunderstorm, 40% chance, and a high of 24. Tomorrow night, clear skies, a low down to 14. Perfect for football. Sunday, mostly sunny, isolated showers later in the day, a 40% chance of those. Wind out of the northwest, 20, gusting to 35, and a high of 21. Start of the week, Monday, mostly sunny, high 26. And looking ahead to Tuesday, a holiday, sunny skies, and a high of 26.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Last Mountain Distillery knows that when you're shopping for weekend supplies this summer, that it's best to support local. In Lumsden, you can sample anything before you buy, including their Baldur's whiskey and entire product lineup. Plus, their knowledgeable staff can answer any questions you might have. Want to add to the experience? Take a newly enhanced tour and tasting, or book your next private event at lastmountaindistillery.com. Last Mountain Distillery, the original local distillery.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Nelson Homes, supplying home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage on this Friday. Maybe you're taking an extra long weekend and you're heading out, you're cruising around. Thanks for tuning in. It is for Nelson Homes on Friday. Still more to come in hour 3. We got Farhan Lalji, Mike Commodore talking hockey, and we're going to take a look at the Davidson golf course, the little 9-banger. Western Pizza guest hotline, perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites. We talk to him kind of once a month now from the Winnipeg Free Press. Kenny Wiebe joining us here. We were talking golf later. I don't know, how's your golf game looking? I know you're a Clear Lake guy. Waskesiu is beautiful. Everything, just how much snow we had. Seems like all courses in Saskatchewan are in great shape. What about Manitoba?
Yeah, things are looking pretty promising here. We did need some rain, but we did get that some of this week. But I know you rode at the Lobstick. I was at the Grey Owl and at Clear Lake earlier this month. So everything's looking good. And now gearing up for the Tamarack in August. That's the next the big tourney. There we have the two rounds of stroke play and then followed by the match play. So should be a fun summer ahead. And game is trending upward. Still needs some putting work, but got the cap down under 12 for the first time in a long time. So we're hoping to the chase for single digits continues.
The one thing about golf, and I brought this up because the lob stick played rake in place in the bunkers, because you never know, it's wet, and just bunkers are so inconsistent in Saskatchewan. Doesn't matter where you play. I can play Riverside in Saskatoon. You can play wherever. I think that as soon as you drive into the province where the welcome to Saskatchewan, land of the living sky, there should be a sign, all bunkers are rake in place in Saskatchewan. I think what makes sense.
It is that time of year where it can be tough, right? I mean, some places too much sand, some places no sand. It's hard to find the happy medium on the prairies, I find. But go with the splash special and hope for the best. Open up that face and hope for the best.
The hope for the best shot. We all love that one. Okay, we're going to get to hockey in a bit because you're on top of everything when it comes Winnipeg Jets, obviously, but I want to just maybe get your take on the football team there. They play last night. Another, they say, sellout. Like the crowds in Winnipeg, let's go there first. Man, they draw nice. Like just the buzz around the team. What makes them so successful in drawing when it comes to the Winnipeg in the area?
Yeah, it's been really interesting the way that Wade Miller and company have turned it almost into like Manitoba's biggest social, or in Saskatchewan we would call it a cabaret, right? So the ability to have a 30,000 person social. Yes, of course there are the hardcores, and those hardcores are always there, but they've made it an event. There's even some standing room tickets, and some people just congregate around the Rum Hut, sort of a famous Manitoba landmark within Princess Auto Stadium. It's just become a real fun environment, and as someone who's turned 50 this year, not necessarily doing the same things we were in college, but they've got that college crowd, that younger CFL crowd into it. It's where they go before they go out, kind of thing. So obviously the winning has certainly helped for the franchise as well, but it's something that I think that all CFL teams would be discussing this around when they have their board meetings. I think it would be something that all teams kind of look at, maybe adding that additional element where if you can get that younger generation interested, and sometimes they aren't even watching the game as closely as maybe the traditional fan, but they've turned it into a place that's fun. There's some tailgating happening outside beforehand, and just the environment and the atmosphere has been really, really fantastic. And again, last year they had the 0-4 start, so it wasn't as a jubilant in an environment, but they were still drawing a lot of fans, and it's something that's been impressive to see. And I mean, we know that these are the two stadiums in Regina and Winnipeg, newest in the league, and two of the most fun to be at when they're full. So hopefully that's something that we continue to see in both provinces here.
Not like the old days, though. Like you said, the college days, you just diesel beers on the one side there at Taylor. But the one thing I want to ask, like, are they drawing from outside of Winnipeg quite a bit? Like how far would people usually drive to a Bomber game if because Saskatchewan, right? Like people are driving from all neck of the woods.
I think it's fair to say that it would be very similar again with both organizations. I mean, I grew up in Altona, hour and 20 from Winnipeg. I do have quite a few friends that have season tickets, so there's always this great debate in terms of the scheduling, right? You have the Lake folks that don't necessarily love the Friday nights and Saturday nights, but you have the folks coming from out of town that it's easier for them to come in on a weekend than a weeknight. So there's a bit of a balancing act, but yeah, I mean, people coming in from Brandon, people coming in from Altona, all around the province. I do think that is something that they've done and done very well. And I mean, we know that since the pandemic, that's probably one of the things with the riders, that you don't have as many people making the trek as maybe once did. I don't know how far that reaches, but certainly it has been a factor. But I mean, I think that with the riders being super competitive again, I think that's going to help drum up that interest for people to be making the trek again and remembering how much fun it is. And yes, we know it's a big commitment, but it's 10 games a year. And I think that, I think it's going to be something that's going to be back up on the rise for the organization and for the folks in the province who love their riders.
if these two teams keep trending the way they are, which they should, a lot like last year, like that Labor Day game is going to be intense. Makes me want to go to the Banjo Bowl, maybe hit up Silver Heights for an evening. You never know what can happen, right?
The ribs, there you go. Get the ribs.
Okay. Hockey-wise, you cover the Jets at Weeb's World. Great follow on Twitter. I want to first off go, and you know him, you've talked to him, Jonathan Toews. That one, Sharky called it. I got to say, Sharky called it. I said, nah, if he comes back, he ain't playing in Winnipeg. Sounds like, we're going to see Jonathan Toews in a Winnipeg Jets jersey. Like, just to wrap my head around that. Like, what can you tell us about that? What do you know, the process, from what you've heard?
Yeah, sure. But quickly, I mean, how about that Kolaros run? We're not going to talk about that 13-yard scamper that maybe he traveled 3/4 of the field on that one.
I'm already out of my Winnipeg quota, Winnipeg Blue Bomber quota for the day. I can't do any more. People start throwing stuff at me.
I got you. In terms of Toews, Barney, I mean, this is a marquee signing, and hey, I get it. Some people are skeptical. He's 37 years old and hasn't played for 2 years. That's totally fine, but as someone who's known Jonathan since he was 17 years old and was following his exploits even well before that, when he was playing on the only Team Western team that has ever won the U17s, right? This Manitoba Saskatchewan combined team. He was the driving force behind that, and I apologize if they have won since. I'm unfamiliar that they have won since, but this guy's one of the greatest leaders, in the history of the sport, basically. Triple Gold Club, he's won everything at every level. And I'm here to tell you, Barney, he's not coming here for a victory lap. He's not coming here to do the old final lap where you take the warm-up and get on the ice and take one, and walk back into the rink or into the dressing room and gear down and say, man, that was really fun to hear the crowd cheer for me one more time. Like, this is a guy who believes he has what it takes to write his own ending. And he didn't like the way that things ended in Chicago with the Blackhawks. And yes, he knew that they were going down the tankathon path, but basically, was told that it was probably time, and then he made the decision to walk away and get healthy. But again, for a guy who wanted to be a one franchise player and had done so much for that franchise, this is an opportunity for him to chase another ring in a place that he's very familiar with. And those thoughts that he shared on Instagram, I know all your listeners have seen them, and there's a genuine appreciation for having the opportunity to potentially, rewrite the final chapter by playing in a province where he's already had a lake named after him. The community center is named after him. He's won the Order of Manitoba. And, oh, by the way, he'd still like to get his name on the cup for a fourth time. So I think it's a really high-end signing. And again, is he going to be peak Jonathan Toews 2010 being named top forward at the Olympics? That's a lot to ask, given the circumstances and the health challenges he has worked himself through. But I'm here to tell you, he didn't come back to be a fourth-line bit player, and that is with all due respect to fourth-line players. And I'm familiar with the role because, but this is a guy who wants to be a middle six player. At worst, he's going to be the best face-off guy they have. He can be a responsible checker. He's won the Selke Trophy. He's the triple threat. He's the guy you want on the ice when the game is tied. He's the guy you want on the ice when you're protecting a lead. And he's the guy on the ice that you want as the sixth attacker when you're trying to tie the game with the goalie out. So I think it's going to be fabulous for him to be around. And for guys like Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, Josh Morrissey, and even Adam Lowry, the captain, who is a great captain, having a guy like Jonathan around who has won everything at every level and is so driven to win. And the beauty of Jonathan, Barney, is that as much as he loves to win, he hates losing even more than he loves winning. And when you have guys like that around, it can only be a positive for a franchise that is trying to level up and go on one of those lengthy magic carpet rides like they had in 2018.
Well, that's what I was going to ask next with it, because when you think about it, first off, maybe this is a two-part. When do you expect him to actually be playing? Then the second part for the Jets, probably wouldn't be able to sign a guy like this in free agency. Let's equate him a little bit to a Tavares. Well, Tavares ain't going to come play and win it. You know what I mean? For the Jets, for this to fall on their lap, that's bonus central too.
Yeah, bang on. And so firstly, I think he'll be ready for training camp and ready for the season. So the thing about Jonathan is that teams were interested in bringing him in just prior to the deadline in March last year. And although he was trending the right way, He just wanted to have the extra time and months to get ready and be sure he was fully recovered. So I do expect him right out of the gate. And again, you hit the nail on the head. So the way the contract is structured, $2 million with up to $5 million in bonuses. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Barney, the only way he collects the full $5 million is if there's a parade at Portage in Maine next June. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think you or I or anyone who covers hockey is going to find a better option on the free agent market at $7 million who does not have a no move clause or is not, necessarily all that interested in being in this location. So, yeah, I mean, it's a ground rule double at minimum, and it has the potential to be a home run and, possibly a grand slam, depending, as long as his health stays at where it was. And this is something that I've written about and reminded people about. The last time Jonathan Toews was healthy, Barney, was during the bubble playoffs, 2020. He was the best player in a series that involved Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and it wasn't particularly close. So I encourage, and again, I understand that was a crazy year and everything else. Go watch the highlights from the qualification round series between the Blackhawks and Oilers. Oilers were the runaway favorite, and Toews put those two guys in a vice and almost completely shut them down and then provided offense. So the bad news is, yes, I get it. That's 5 years ago, but that's the last time he was fully healthy. And I think he has an opportunity to do some great things. And again, is he the number 2 center right out of the gate? That's asking a lot, but this is a player. This isn't just a ham and egger coming out of the bullpen after 2 years. This isn't a guy coming to adult safe hockey after a couple year hiatus here. This is one of the best players of his generation. So again, and then the beauty of the Jets is that when Adam Lowry is back from the hip surgery and he's healthy, he also can play second line minutes. So all the people saying, oh, Jonathan Toews can't be a 2C. Well, let's just give it a little bit of runway here. He will show you if he can or cannot do it. And I would advise against betting against this guy here, just having the, having known him for as long as I have and having seen what he's accomplished. Again, I just think that he knows his body. He knows what his limitations are. And he's a guy that can be a big impact player.
That was, that whole bubble thing. That's so weird. And people won't remember that. I remember it, but I don't remember Toews. So now that you got me thinking, I want to go back. What about when it comes to the Jets, Nikolai Ehlers? What's happening there?
Elliot reported it, and Elliot and I spoke yesterday afternoon too. I mean, Nikolai Ehlers has informed the Jets that he plans to hit the market, but he hasn't closed the door on them completely. But what that does is that it means that the 8th year, barring a last-minute offer before July 1st arrives, it means the 8th year is off the table. So, and if that is the case, that takes away the biggest advantage that the Jets have to this point, right? So with the 8th year, even if you're only at 8.5, the other teams with only that 7 year, you'd have to be at 10 or higher to beat the offer, essentially, or 9.75 or whatever number you want to use. But Ehlers is going. Mitch Marner is someone who's attracting tons of interest. But if he ends up in Vegas, that means Nikolai Ehlers is the most highly coveted winger out there, most likely, right? I mean, yes, Marchand, but if Marchand's not leaving and Bennett's not leaving, well, all of a sudden Ehlers is at the top of the class, and now you've got a bunch of teams in the East and the West that are interested in him. So it's going to be hard for the Jets to win a bidding war for Ehlers. Their best chance was to get him pre-July 1 when you have that ability to go to the 8th year. I think they were comfortable going and hitting the Scheifele-Hellebuck number, and maybe even going the 8th year when those other guys had 7, because Ehlers is 29 and those guys' deals kicked in at 31. But it sounds like that's not going to happen, and if that doesn't happen, it's going to be more challenging to keep him around. And if he's gone, now you're looking at, trying to replace him with a Brock Besser, right? So Brock Besser is a guy the Jets have had their eyes on since he played at UND. Jonathan Toews played at UND. I don't know their relationship, but, now we're going to see if that's an option. And I do think Besser will consider the Jets. But again, now you're going to have to win a bidding war. If you can't keep your internal candidate, you don't have a guy in the minors that can jump into that role. We wondered if it might be Brad Lambert, and I know he had a chance to watch him when he went back to the Dub a bit. Brad had some injuries this year. He had a nice cameo. He did have one sleepless night after missing an open net in Chicago when he was up with the big club. But they didn't have a ton of offense in the minors. So Brad's offensive year was a bit stagnant. I think he only had 7 goals. So I think last summer at this time, I would have told you, well, Lambert looks like a guy who might be able to jump in the lineup at right wing. He still might make the team, but to ask him to be a second line right winger right now is probably a little bit asking too much. But again, that's the beauty of the summer. Let's see how these guys develop. Braden Yager, you had a chance to see him in the playoffs.
That's what I was going to ask you about. I was going to ask you about where do you think Yags goes? Sasky guy, played in Moose Jaw. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel him fitting in, or is it tough to say?
Yeah, speaking of guys who enjoy Waskasiu, right? So, I think that the ability, because Lowry's not there for at least 6 weeks probably, maybe that opens the door. I think, and all these guys want to be ready and feel like they can jump right in. And because he's so smart, Barney, and because he's so defensively responsible, there is a scenario where he could kick the door down and maybe get that look at the beginning of the year, especially with Lowry not being available. So, but for me, it probably is always, as someone who covered the American League for 10 years, I know a lot of players want to start at the top right away. But it's way easier to go down to the minors, establish yourself, get those top 6 minutes, get those, first PP touches, maybe even get some penalty killing time if you're Yager, and play those 20 to 22 minutes rather than be a 12-minute NHL guy where you're, almost, again, I'm not saying this about him specifically, but when you're a 20-year-old guy, it's hard to be making confident plays with the puck on your stick when you're in a more of a checking role. So I think that he battles for a spot and maybe even makes the team out of camp, but he's probably going to need some American League time and probably maybe even most of the year. And I say this with all due respect. I think very highly of Yager, but I also have seen Kyle Connor and the benefits to Kyle Connor spending that full year in the American League after his cameo. It's such an important place to ply your trade and make your mistakes. And when you're a team that's trying to win the cup, it's harder to have on-the-job training at the NHL level when you see yourself as a Stanley Cup contender. Even with a guy that has such a great skill set, can skate, can shoot, is defensively responsible, I just think he's going to probably need, at least half a season and maybe even a full season of the American League before he's ready to be an impact player. But again, because of the opportunity, he might kick the door down and say, hey, I'm here right now, and I may, steal a spot, quote unquote.
What are you expecting from the Jets in the draft, which starts tonight, obviously, with first round? But what are you expecting in the draft? Anything crazy?
Yeah, it's wild, right? I mean, I was talking to Sammy Cosentino and Jason Buchla earlier this week, and it's just such an unknown beyond, whatever the number you want to use, 12, 15, 20, whatever number you want to use. All the lists are so wildly different, not in terms of what names are on it, but what the order is. And, one team's going to have somebody, some team's going to have Blake Fiddler at, 18, and another one's going to say, man, I sure hope he's there at 28, right? So I think he's a guy that would make a lot of sense. He's big 6'4" defenseman from the Oil Kings. He would make some sense for the Jets. They got Elias Solomonson coming up in probably this year or the next. So longer term, those guys make sense, but at the same time, they probably need a little bit of an injection of skill. So it's hard to gauge. What I've said earlier, I don't think they pick at 28th. I think they either move up or down or use that pick and package it for maybe a potential top 6 forward or as part of a bigger deal here. But it's going to be a fascinating time. I mean, I don't see these guys as much as I would like to, so I'm not here to say bang my fist on the table for Bill Zonin or Miles Gastrin or whatever else. I mean, what we know about the Jets, they love guys who wear letters at U18s. They love guys who are the Scholastic Player of the Year at times, and they love high character guys who have high hockey sense. But at the same time, the Jets also need an injection of speed in the organization. So I could see it going any number of ways, and I could also see them not making a pick at all and using that pick to, maybe try to get somebody like a Brian Rust. He's a guy whose name is out there a lot because his no move disappears or at least changes on July 1st. So I expect it to be a fascinating day, and curious for your thoughts on Carter Bear. He's the highest ranked Manitoban. It could go anywhere from 10 to 20 as well.
That's what I was looking at today with a lot of the guys, and I'm like, well, why does this guy have, I think I was looking at Reshny or somebody, and I was like, there's guys that are in that maybe 2-3 different, and then there's a guy that's 12 spots different. I don't know enough to, like you said, so much goes into it. We need speed. We want this. We don't need the leadership as much as we need this. It's hard to say. I think it's going to be a really weird draft too, with the respect that there's not a lot of players there. With the NHL not bringing the kids, it's unfortunate for a lot of them that aren't going to get that experience, right? Because that's when we interview guys on the Monday Nooner, it's like one of the things we ask. It's like, tell us about your draft story, and then they say, "Oh, my mom and dad, we came," and like Mike Commodore, we yesterday, like his one, he wasn't even going to go until New Jersey was like, "No, you should actually come," like basically saying they were taking him. But yeah, the NHL draft is it starts tonight, so I guess we'll see. The Roger McQueen, I messaged his dad today. I messaged Scotty today and said, best of luck, congratulations. That was an unfortunate year for him, but he's still going to go. I know Philly's been really high on him, really, just with that back injury. He didn't play much, but man, is he a big and talented kid.
Yeah, Sammy Cosentino had him on at fifth to Nashville in his mock. He thinks he could be today's big riser. And, I was speaking with Marty Murray, head coach and GM of the Wheat Kings earlier this week. And, he obviously has seen him more than anybody else. And he's super high on him. And there's obviously been a ton of interest around him, and lots of calls during the week. So I expect he'll be, in the top 10 for sure and could be as high as fifth. So should be a fun day overall. But again, way different you calling me last year when I'm at the Sphere compared to me being in my home office here. Let's hope this is just a one and done special and we get back to the normalcy next year again in next June.
Right on. Kenny, thanks so much. Hey, let's get that single next time we talk, single handicap, right? That's what the goal is. That's what and I'll try and get my putter going as well. And if you are making it this way, we're going to have to tee it up.
Yeah, always great to be with you. Have a great weekend and good luck on the links as well, my friend.
Kenny Wiebe from the Winnipeg Free Press at Weeb's World. Great follow on Twitter. Joining us here on the Sportscage. Quick break. We are streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
The Health Sciences Association of Saskatchewan is a union representing over 4,000 specialized healthcare professionals who work in a variety of professions, including nutritionists, occupational therapists, audiologists, and respiratory therapists. We work in hospitals, emergency services, communities, and long-term care. The services that Health Sciences members offer are diverse, but our priorities are the same. If you need us, HSAS professionals can help.
Gordon tells us why he called Brian Gawley of Smart Investing Solutions.
Well, I too heard Brian's commercial on CKRM, and at the time I was just retiring, so I was looking for a financial advisor. I would recommend my family, friends, or anybody to contact Brian. He's a super knowledgeable fella.
Don't guess with your money. Call Brian at 306-546-2533. SmartInvestingSolutions.ca.
At the cabin or on the farm, Access Rural Internet gives you speed and service you can rely on. Right now, get Access Rural Internet for as low as $69.95 a month for 24 months, including free service calls by our local techs, a free Wi-Fi router, and a strong, reliable signal matched by our strong, reliable customer service. Great service is never far away with Access Rural Internet. Visit myaccess.ca to book your free site survey.
For everything hockey, head to Extreme Hockey and Sports. Spring hockey is around the corner. Get fitted to your specs with the best team at Extreme Hockey. Be sure to check out Umbrella Marketing and Tarrington and his team for all your team, corporate, and business needs. Corporate or work event? Check out our custom Yeti and engraving options. Make any occasion a special one. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, and the Pro Shop conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
From the Sask Today newsroom, here's what's making news in Saskatchewan.
Gas prices have been holding steady, but more conflict in the Middle East could mean a surge in the price of oil.
Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground focusing on local topics that matter to you. Sign up for our daily news digest, making the news even easier to access. SaskToday.ca. Everybody has a story. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
Proven by countless farmers, 900 Series fence sprayers set the standard for your crops, and it's available at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Featuring 370 horsepower, 132-foot boom, 1,580-gallon tank, smart drive 4-wheel steering, and Liquid Logic recirculating boom, the 900 Series fence sprayers are backed by a 3-year, 2,000-hour Gold Star warranty. Leaders drive Fendt. To learn more about making your crops successful, visit Nick's Service today. nicksservice.com.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Some say the number 13 is bad luck, like walking under a ladder. Well, 13 is a very lucky number when you're talking Western Pizza, like their delicious 13-inch pepperoni from Western Pizza. That makes it, well, the luckiest number of all. Western Pizza, big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
The Sportscage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
Colson, I don't know if you have one, but I'm switching things up now. Clutch Performer, this just in. I don't know if it should be the Florida Panthers or Sam Bennett. Both of them. Clutch Performers. 8 more years. Sam Bennett has just signed an 8-year deal with the Florida Panthers. He said he wasn't leaving. He did the whole Wolf of Wall Street thing. Yeah, so Sam Bennett, Florida Panthers, locked up. Carrick Wheatfall, I'm going to give him a Clutch Performer for a touchdown last night because I bet him. Anytime touchdown bet for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That hit. Clutch Performer always for Nick's Service. And do you have one?
Yeah, I'll give mine to... Oh, good.
Sorry, bud.
I'll give mine to Shawn Bane Jr. Heck of an interview there.
Nice. Big interview guy. That's right. I liked it. Clutch Performers for Nick's Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Okay, so we got Indigenous Sports Spotlight coming up. Interesting interview with Keyshawn Gervais. Hour 3, Farhan Lalji talking CFL. Mike Commodore. Yes, the Mike Commodore. Talking some hockey with us, and then we're going to look at the Davidson Golf Course. Riders, if you haven't, you're just driving in the car, just got in. Trevor Harris ain't dressing tomorrow. We're going in Jake we trust. Jake Mayer will be our starting slinger. The quarterback position, Cohn and Stevens backing him up. That is just in. They're being cautious. Those stinking BC Lions, we don't know what they're doing yet. As they have Rourke listed as on the game day roster, so he could play. I don't think he's going to play. I don't know why you'd put him on there if he isn't, but yeah. So Luke Mullender in hour 1 talked about that. He doesn't think he will as well because it's too early in the season. Another thing we talked to Luke about. Luke said, "Hey, the comments of Luke Wilson. I know it's been a week and we're kind of beating a dead horse here." Luke liked him. It was the first chance we got to talk to Luke Mullender about them. And then the thing that's been coming down, getting bombarded on social media about, and Colson, I don't know where you land on this, but the amount of people and media people and all that. And hey, doing this for fun, right? Like I don't take myself that serious to be a journalistic integrity, whatever. I'm doing a sports show in Regina. But the no publicity is bad publicity is one of the worst mottos you can follow. It's like, hey, it's free marketing. It could end up being bad. I equated it to the Wuhan wet market where allegedly COVID started. That wasn't good publicity. I don't even know if it's still in business. Look it up. Or the Fire Festival. that whole thing came out. They're trying to bring that thing back. People would be like, I ain't going to the Fire Festival. If you hadn't watched the Netflix documentary on that, it ain't good.
I don't even know what the Fire Festival is.
You got to watch that doc. It's good, but it's just one of the things where it's not always true.
Yeah, I mean, your Wuhan example is probably going to top anything I could come up with, but like you're saying, some things are just being known for something doesn't mean that it's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So when you hear people go, they're talking about the CFL, if it's not a good talk. It's like Seinfeld said, good naked, bad naked. It's good, not a good talk. It's not. So that hey, you can dispute 936-6262. If you think something different than me, Prairie Land Rentals text line. But I'm saying not all publicity is good publicity for sure. Tomorrow for our Riders, Mike Rose back in the lineup. He's having a heck of a year. Dave Thomas caught up to Mike Rose, and he gets him to kind of self-assess where they are and where he is right now.
Well, first and foremost, we talked at training camp up in Saskatoon, and from there to now, how have you seen yourself progress and this defense as a whole progress?
Oh, man, I've been loving it, man. Day by day, just trying to get better. You know, there's a lot of good pieces on this defense, and, you know, I'm just coming in here just trying to play my role. That's it.
Did you have a chip on your shoulder when you arrived in Regina with maybe something to prove? I'm sure that professional athletes have something to prove each and every year, but was it different at all this year?
I mean, every year I feel like you got to reinvent yourself, prove yourself. You know, there's always somebody younger they probably want or some guy they want. So you just got to come out here and show you still got it every day.
Tell me about your relationship with Micah Johnson, perhaps the two most talented defensive tackles in the Canadian Football League, and yourself and him.
Oh, man, he's a beast, man. He helped me when I was first starting out. You know, he taught me a lot of stuff. But he's a good player, man. He's a great player. I think he's a Hall of Famer. You know, I think he's one of the best to do it.
Has it been an adjustment becoming a Saskatchewan Roughrider wearing green and white?
Oh, no, man, it's dope, man. I feel like I played here my whole career because I've been in the stadium so much, you know. I wish I could have got here sooner.
Tell me about your first sack as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. Tell me about the play.
Man, I wish I had it I wanted it to be in Mosaic. I wanted it to be in Mosaic, man. But you know what, man? It just feels good to contribute, and it feels good to put on the green and white and go out there and, you know, get the numbers.
Tell me about track pants. Apparently you have an affinity for them?
I mean, you see, I got them on, man. I don't know. Mace thinks I'm weird because I don't show my legs. I just don't wear shorts.
Is it a thing that you don't want to show up, your head coach?
I don't know, man. I think he just likes showing his legs, and I'm just the complete opposite.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 50-50 is presented by ISC.
Last Mountain Distillery knows that when you're shopping for weekend supplies this summer, that it's best to support local. In Lumsden, you can sample anything before you buy, including their Baldur's whiskey and entire product lineup. Plus, their knowledgeable staff can answer any questions you might have. Want to add to the experience? Take a newly enhanced tour and tasting, or book your next private event at lastmountaindistillery.com. Last Mountain Distillery, the original local distillery.
Don't miss Def Leppard at Country Thunder, Saskatchewan. Single-day tickets are available now. Spend July 13th with Def Leppard, Kip Moore, and the Roadhammers. Or make it 4 days and see Bailey Zimmerman, Jason Aldean, and so many more. Country Thunder, Saskatchewan. In Craven, July 10th to 13th. Single-day and weekend passes are available at countrythunder.com.
You see Johnson got a new truck?
Yeah.
Not too shabby, eh?
Nope.
What else is there to talk about? Palliser Direct Online Hail Insurance. It's that easy. Save up to 13% on your crop hail rates this year when you purchase online through Palliser Direct. Insurance has never been easier. Visit PalliserInsurance.com anytime, anywhere.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
You say
move,
and your cows say you tell them
your water is right over there,
and they say you can't convince a cow to move to the water, so move the water to the cows with the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System. With the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
Bidding is now open on the famous Estevan Motor Speedway timed online 5-day auction. This is one of Saskatchewan's largest auctions. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, hundreds of lots of farm and livestock equipment, dozens of fifth wheels and RVs, huge selection of snow machines, quads and side-by-sides, cars, trucks, and acreage equipment. Gates open daily, 9 to 5 all weekend long in Estevan, Saskatchewan. Bidding closes this Monday, June 30th, starting at 10 a.m.
This summer, if you're thinking of a new building, think Olympic Buildings. They're engineered from top to bottom to be better than the rest. Strength, solid design, and impressive good looks are all standard on an Olympic farm building. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
Celebrate Canada Day by getting even more for your points. It's the Super Redemption event at Shoppers Drug Mart until Wednesday. Valid in-store and online.
Back to Sportscage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the Sportscage. Going into the weekend here on Friday. Thanks if you're watching the stream at sportscage.com or listening on the radio, 620 CKRM. You can go back and listen to it all in podcast form or rewatch it. It lives forever on there wherever you listen and find podcasts. We've been teeing it up. It's now time for the Fries Tallman Indigenous Sports Spotlight. Fries Tallman in Regina and Fort Capel. They're more than just lumber, decking, railing, windows, doors, roofing, siding, drywall, insulation, rebar, and more. Whether it's for the lake or home, they deliver. So when you're going to go to the big box stores, just remember, hey, the local guy, they can help me, and they're actually going to help you. And they have people that can help you if you need a job done. I'm getting my stairs done. The Fries Tallman guys have the gentleman doing them, the contractor, and the material. One-stop shop. So Fries Tallman, Indigenous Sports Spotlight, Keyshawn Gervais. What a young man. 23 years old from the Kisakus First Nation. Hockey player, playing some pro hockey this year in the East Coast Hockey League and also in Finland. He's doing a lot of speaking engagements to the youth in a lot of First Nations, but he can come to the city, he can come to your town as well. I love the story. I wanted to get him on the show, so let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline right now. Western Pizza, whether it's all the Greek favorites you like or just a good old-fashioned pizza pie, Western Pizza. Keyshawn Gervais joining us from the Kisakus First Nation. Keyshawn, first off, thanks for making some time, and I really applaud kind of what you've been doing here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to come on here and speak to you today. So, yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, so just kind of, give people a sense of what you're doing on these speaking engagements as a young guy, 23 years old. What I've read, you've been kind of going out to different First Nations and really speaking to the youth.
Yeah, so when I was 18, my dad put it in my head that it'd be good to give back and go to different communities to speak on my experience of growing up on the reserve, because I feel as a young Indigenous person who also grew up on the reserve and has lived through that struggle and has had to go through the hardships that a lot of the kids do, I feel like it's a little more relatable. So I go on to a lot of different reserves around, honestly, Canada, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario have been the main ones so far. And I kind of just speak on my story of growing up in Kisakuse, and then I transfer over to mental health and taking care of your mental health and being there for somebody who might be struggling, as well as giving them coping mechanisms so it doesn't turn into a big problem that we have in Indigenous communities, which is suicide. So I speak on suicide awareness as well. And those are kind of my three main topics, is just growing up in the reserve, mental health, suicide awareness, and then I always close it off about being prideful of who you are and where you come from, because it's one thing I feel like has been lost nowadays in our Indigenous communities, but you're kind of starting to see more and more that a lot of people are coming up and being really successful from reserves. So I just want to spark a little bit of hope, and if I can influence one person in the room, I feel like I did my job.
What kind of stories would you share that they could relate to from when you were younger that would stand out and resonate with them?
Just growing up and having to go through the hardships of, racism and feeling like you're left out in a lot of, whether it was events or you just kind of felt like an outcast, or growing up in poverty. Like, I remember my grandpa would have to work 3 jobs just to get myself through hockey. And, I never had the best clothes or the best hockey equipment, but we were able to still get through. And, like, he always taught me to be grateful for what I have, because as a guy who was a single grandpa that had to take care of me, he really worked hard for what he was able to provide. So just being able to relate to them through the struggles that go on in the reserves. Like, I lived through being on a community that struggled with drugs and alcohol. I lived through poverty and not growing up the wealthiest, and the racism and those kind of discriminations we face today. Like, I've seen it all. So just trying to relate to the youth out there that I also went through it, and it's entirely possible. Whether you want to be an athlete, a doctor, a lawyer, that anything's possible if you come from the reserve. Not to use it as something that hinders you, but something that can push you forward and motivate you.
I see. You played AAA, U18 AAA, Yorkton, Prince Albert, then to the SJ, the Western League, U Sports in there, and then this last year, East Coast Hockey League, playing pro hockey, and as well as some pro in Finland. When you go back, Keyshawn, were there a number of times that you wanted to quit?
Yeah. I couldn't even count how many times on my fingers, how many times I wanted to give up on in Pee-wee, leaving the reserve to go play in Yorkton. I felt like an outcast a little bit, and then, you move full-time off the reserve to go chase your dream, and then you really see what the real world's like, and, getting cut multiple times from teams, getting put on the fourth line, just having my grandpa and my family continue to push me forward and keep me going. There was multiple times I wanted to quit, but at a young age, when I did want to quit, they instilled the belief factor in my mind, and the support from them was unbelievable. So now it kind of helped me channel it into motivation and wanting to prove a lot of people wrong. Or it honestly comes down to every year I play hockey now. Obviously, I want to make myself happy, but I want to do it for my community, Kisakuse, and I just want to be able to represent them well anywhere I go.
Keyshawn Gervais joining us here on the Fries Tallman Indigenous Spotlight. It's an amazing story. Do you go back ever to when you were younger on anyone that you had speak to you or maybe heard speak? And who was your idol, that kind of the person that you looked up to?
Yeah, almost every day whenever I go to the rink during the season, I always think back, and honestly, statistically, I shouldn't be where I am today, but without the help of my brother, Caleb, he's a national champion with the Yorkton Terriers. He was my idol. Obviously, I had favorite hockey players. Like growing up, Sidney Crosby was my favorite player, but my older brother Caleb was my idol. And just watching him play high-level junior A hockey and seeing him win championships and the way he interacted with the people on the reserve and still does today, he really taught me how to carry myself as a hockey player and to be professional. So just being around him all the time when I was younger and picking up the traits that I was able to see from him, honestly, it helped me shape to be the person I am today. Obviously, my grandpa, who's also my idol, him raising me, but on the hockey side, it definitely is my older brother, Caleb.
Excellent. So if anybody out there wants to book you, to have you come and speak, whether it's in the city or in rural area or out on the First Nations, what is the best way and how can they get in touch with you, Keyshawn?
Just through my email or messaging me through Facebook. So usually 90% of my bookings come through Facebook. They just shoot me a message, like Keyshawn Gervais, and then I'll usually give out my email through there and then just set up bookings.
Awesome. Thanks so much for doing this. Continued success, and hopefully we can catch up again soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The Fries Tallman Lumber Indigenous Sports Spotlight for this month, Keyshawn Gervais. What a story. Fries Tallman Lumber, more than just lumber, whatever you need in Regina and Fort Capel. Remember, they deliver, and whether it's decking, siding, windows, doors, roofing, anything like that, they're local, they deliver, they're in both locations. They're going to, if you can't get it done, they'll find someone to get it done. Fries Tallman Lumber. Again, if you want to get in touch with Keyshawn, he's on Facebook. That is the most popular way, he said. His name is spelled Kishaun. Keyshawn Gervais, Gervais. So great story there. Hope you enjoyed it. And again, thanks to Fries Tallman for supporting and sponsoring the Indigenous Sports Spotlight. All right, break time on the Sports Cage. Whether you're watching on the stream, sportscage.com, or as always on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Been there, done that. We get it. And we've got something great for you. The Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM. We're giving you the chance to win a 100-ton fertilizer bin from Coregrain. All you have to do is be listening to find out which sponsor locations you can enter at, all across southern Saskatchewan. You'll also have some chances to qualify during Saskag Today with Ryan Young. The grand prize draw will take place at Egg in Motion this July. Don't miss out on your chance to have a shot at the Great Bin Giveaway.
Brought to you by Ag Direct Hail Insurance, Zipperlock Building Company, McDougall Auctioneers, Redvers Agricultural Supply, and 620 CKRM.
Last Mountain Distillery knows that when you're shopping for weekend supplies this summer, that it's best to support local. In Lumsden, you can sample anything before you buy, including their Baldur's whiskey and entire product lineup. Plus, their knowledgeable staff can answer any questions you might have. Want to add to the experience? Take a newly enhanced tour and tasting, or book your next private event at lastmountaindistillery.com. Last Mountain Distillery, the original local distillery.
Looking for the perfect summer escape? Return to nature and leave the city behind at Baker's Bungalows in beautiful Waskesiu. Nestled in one of Canada's finest national parks, their cozy cabins come fully equipped with everything from linens to cookware, so you can relax, explore, and enjoy the sun and serenity. And this summer only, rent 2 nights and get the 3rd night free for any remaining dates from July through September 2025. Don't wait, book your peaceful getaway today by calling 1-855-GO-TO-LAKE.
The best thing would be to never have hail. Since we can't control that, the next best thing is to write you a check when the hail comes. Municipal Hail Insurance. 3 tiers of stackable insurance, sold at cost, starting with SMHI, with accurate adjustments, timely and fair payouts. Because the best thing about us is we've been there. Municipal Hail Insurance. Farmers insuring farmers for over 100 years. Deadline for new applicants to apply for SMHI is June 30th.
It's time to upgrade to Kloss. During the Kloss Limited Inventory Sale, now through June 30th, get 0% financing for 60 months on select Kloss Axion tractors, or 3.99% financing for 60 months on select Arion tractors. With superior performance, industry-leading support, and unbeatable long-term ROI, it's a deal that's made for more on a tractor that's made for you. Ask your Kloss dealer about the Limited Inventory Sale or visit Kloss.com. Kloss, made for more.
Are you in transition? We understand that hard work pays off, so let McDougall Auctioneers make it rewarding. Hi, this is Riley McChesney. Our retirement auctions are designed to honor your legacy and maximize returns. With our tailored approach, selling your asset becomes a seamless, profitable journey. Trust us to turn your hard work into a golden retirement opportunity. You earned it. McDougall Auctioneers, 1-800-263-4193, or visit us at McDougallAuction.com.
When you're on the road, don't forget, Arcola Co-op is your home away from home. And they're now your liquor store away from home, too. Attached to the gas bar and convenience store is their 500-square-foot walk-in beer cooler, with a wide variety of wine and spirits, too. Heading to the lake or out camping, make Arcola Co-op your one-stop shop. Grab your beer, ice, fuel, snacks, and even hot chicken all in one place. Arcola Co-op, you're at home here.
You know something? It's like selling a six-pack with only 5 beers in it. Wood Country Woody here, reminding you that unlike some other places, Wood Country Garage Packages contains everything you need, right from the start, including appearance-grade lumber, all your nails and screws, and walk-in doors with cladded jambs. Building a garage? It's one and done with Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Shop online. wood-country.com.
The certified pre-owned vehicle demand is high and our supply is low. We need your trade-in at Capital GMC. We have 180 certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Be sure to check out employee pricing on all pre-owned vehicles, with rates as low as 4.99 for up to 60 months on select GM certified vehicles. And a great selection, plus 150 plus point inspection and roadside assistance. Capital GMC is the GM certified pre-owned vehicle destination at the corner of Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina, where we go the extra mile and so do our vehicles.
Country Corner is brought to you by EMF Market Mall. Open Thursday to Sunday at 1217 Broad Street. Look for EMF Market Mall on Facebook.
The Thunder on the Prairie's modified truck and tractor polls are July 4th and 5th in Odessa. Monster truck rides, show and shine, heavy horse polls, and bands playing Friday and Saturday nights. Look for Thunder on the Prairies on Facebook. Get ready for the party of the summer with Country Thunder Saskatchewan, July 10th to 13th at Craven. Jason Aldean, Bailey Zimmerman, Def Leppard, and so many more. Secure your tickets and camping online at countrythunder.com. And the Creelman Fair is coming up Saturday, July 19th. Parade, craft and trade show, horse and cattle shows, and much more. Check out CreelmanEggSociety.ca.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports. Whatever your sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered.
Rider Nation, Jake's our slinger. Jake Mayer playing tomorrow. Trevor Harris not dressing for the Riders against the Lions. 5 o'clock kickoff. It all starts 2 o'clock here on the Rider Broadcast Network. WCBL. Red Sox beat Medicine Hat yesterday. They're back in the hat tonight. Swift, Moose Jaw, Weyburn, all on the road also. Blue Jays start a series in Boston tonight. NHL news, huge. Sam Bennett just came down 8 more years with the Panthers. Also, Trent Frederick signs an 8-year banger with the Oilers. NHL draft goes tonight. Look for Roger McQueen from Saskatoon and Cole Resheny from Macklin to be taken. Moose Jaw Warrior, Lyndon Lakovic should be up there as well. That is your Sports Ticker in Hour 2 for Extreme Hockey and Sport. The Bauer Flylight gear is in. Extreme Hockey and Sport. They've always been local. They support local. Visit them today. Hour 3 is going to start. We're going to have Mike Commodore in there, but we're going to start with Farhan Lalji and, of course, our Prairie Golf Gem report. It is the Sportscage on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM.
From the towers to the tractors, country's greatest hits, 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news for Echo Sound and Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with a new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. Well, another summer day in Saskatchewan, another severe thunderstorm watch. This time it's for Regina and areas in the southeastern part of the province. Environment Canada says conditions are right for severe thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Storms could bring strong wind gusts, heavy rain, large hail, and possibly a tornado. The threat should move into Manitoba tonight. People are urged to take cover if severe weather approaches and listen for updates. 2 suspects have been charged after a robbery last week in Regina. Police say 2 women and a man entered a Broad Street business with a man pretending to be police before threatening and assaulting a victim. The group stole a cell phone and cash and then fled. The woman was arrested Saturday and a man was arrested Sunday. They appeared in court on Monday on robbery charges, with the man also facing impersonation charges. Police will continue to search for a 3rd suspect. Canada's new agriculture minister paid a visit to the province earlier this month, meeting with a number of groups, including the Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan. APAS President Bill Pribylski says it was important that Heath MacDonald spend some time in the province, learning about Saskatchewan's agriculture industry and building relationships with farmers and provincial ag organizations.
It was certainly a good opportunity to build that relationship, which, as you say, is extremely important. If we are going to be sitting across the table from each other discussing some tougher issues, it's good to know that we have that personal relationship going into those discussions.
Pribylski says he is cautiously optimistic that APAS will have a good working relationship with MacDonald going forward. Saskatchewan's province-wide wildfire state of emergency is no more, exactly 1 month after it was issued. Officials with the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency say the order expired late last night and that going forward they will only provide updates as necessary rather than every day. They say people can also stay up to date through the agency's online dashboards. There are 20 active wildfires in Saskatchewan, including 2 that have not been contained. And U.S. President Donald Trump says he is terminating trade talks with Canada and threatening new tariffs over Ottawa's plans to push ahead with a digital services tax at the end of the month. Trump says Washington will notify Canada about new tariff rates within the next week, when Ottawa is set to apply a tax to services like Facebook, Google, and Amazon. He says he expects Canada to reverse course and that Washington has leverage over the Canadian economy.
Canada's been a very difficult country to deal with over the years. You know, we hear Canada, we have a great relationship with the people of Canada, but it's been very difficult. And they put a charge, and they were a little bit early, we found out about it. So, and we have all the cards. We have every single one.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says that complex negotiations with Trump will proceed, although it's unclear what that means for his goal of getting a deal by mid-July. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Way to go, Travis Kelce. I mean, son.
As fun as it is watching your 5-year-old run the wrong way or pick dandelions on the football field, what if I told you you could watch your favorite sports or shows on the go anywhere? Well, you can with MaxStream TV from Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer. Take MaxStream anywhere you go.
Oh, wrong way, buddy.
MaxStream and great internet plans available at Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle, echosound.ca.
Let's get out on the water. Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Qu'Appelle. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
Weather brought to you by Line X Regina, Serious Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McCarra Street. And Croft Electric, 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service for all your electrical needs. CroftElectric.com, and you can find them on all socials.
Some isolated showers and thunderstorms, a few locally heavier ones too. Similar pattern to yesterday. Temperatures drop off to 13 as the sky clears overnight. And tomorrow, we do it again. Partly sunny sky for most of the day. There is the chance for some afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The chance really for some heavier showers a little better. But still, just like each of these other days, some of the showers are heavy. Many of them are just scattered and light. Temperature around 24 during the afternoon tomorrow. A clear sky into Saturday night will fall back to around 14 and mostly sunny on Sunday. There is a chance of an afternoon shower. Very late afternoon, though. Getting in toward 5, 6 o'clock Sunday, a chance for a couple of showers, and then we dry out as well. Winds shifting to the west-northwest. A breezy afternoon Sunday at 21. But the cool down precedes a warm-up. Warm air building back in. Some of those showers helping to bring that trough through. Sunshine on Monday and Tuesday, both days, 26. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm precision weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
Croft Electric. You've probably heard of us because we've been around for over 27 years. We do commercial and residential work? Yes. We do permanent holiday lighting? Yes. We do cabins? Yes. And farms? Yes and yes. We're an authorized Generac generator dealer. We are a full-service electrical company with the experience and the people to service all of your electrical needs. We are Croft Electric. We will be here when you need us. Do it right, do it once. Follow us on all social and call 306-586-1333 to book.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Nelson Homes, supplying home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Last hour of the show for Nelson Homes. Thanks for participating. If you missed any of it, go back and listen to it in podcast form. Rider game tomorrow. No Trevor Harris. Jake Mayer quarterbacking for our Riders. Don't forget, on game days at participating KFCs in Saskatchewan, the End Zone Big Crunch, $4.95, and the Big Crunch Combo, only $7.95. All participating KFCs on game day only. We start things here at 2 p.m. tomorrow, kickoff at 5 p.m. We got Mike Commodore coming up. We got the Prairie Golf Report, our Prairie Gem Report with Davidson as our golf course focus today. But it is time to talk some CFL football and some NHL with Farhan Lalji.
It's time to get the inside story. TSN's Farhan Lalji on Sportscage is brought to you by the Cooperators. Time to get financially fit? Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
From TSN, it's time to go talk to our man, Farhan Lalji. There he is. Join us. First off, I tweeted at you yesterday, and I don't usually do that. It was more of a tongue-in-cheek. It was a smart aleck comment on I can't stand when players dance after they drop a ball or they do something detrimental to their team, and then 5 minutes later they're doing a celebration dance in the end zone.
Yeah, look, I always think you should celebrate. You know, when you score, I'm not a act like you've been there before kind of guy. Like, not over the top, just you can celebrate. These things are hard to do. Everything's great. But the thought that this was any level of redemption is fantasy. There was no redemption there because he was wide open. It was an easy catch, and you scored. Good for you. You got to make the other play. That doesn't change the fact, like, this wasn't one of those Nick Dembski crazy grabs, right? Which is, you're fortunate to make. Like, he made a regular play to score a touchdown. He dropped a regular play. You can't have that. So celebrate whatever. But there was to me, look, if I drop the ball, I'm kind of with you on this one. If I drop the ball, the next time I score, I'm still going to be sheepish.
We're talking about, for people that Julian Grant last night for the Eskimos dropped one in the end zone that I said a lot of bantam players would have had, and then 5 minutes later he caught a pedestrian one and then did the celly. It looks like we got a battle of the backups tomorrow. Is that safe to say here in Regina?
Yeah, I think the Lions are offering up a little gamesmanship here and holding out a final decision until the end. Good of the Riders not to do the same after Trevor Harris practiced in a closed practice yesterday and apparently was a full participant. And I kind of raised my eyebrows a bit when Corey Mace said, "I got to go see the film because I'm not sure what you gain on film from a concussion," right? So that part was a little odd. That said, the Riders are being cautious here and are making sure they do the right thing by the player, and they are going to sit Trevor Harris out. And, I know that was very much up in the air. The stuff with Nathan Rourke, they've got him listed atop the depth chart, but they've got game time decision. He didn't practice at all yesterday. So kind of the opposite situation of Trevor Harris. Rourke did practice the first 2 days, a little bit limited, didn't practice the third day, and now they've got him as the game time decision. My gut tells me he's not going to play, but I really do think this is a bit of a moving target here, and there's a chance, but based on their quarterback deployment in practice yesterday and all those other things, my gut tells me like 60-40 that Rourke's not going to start.
Have you seen him throw the ball? Yeah. You have, and like, how does it really look?
Well, okay, so he did some stuff, with a trainer before the practice week began, where he was really ripping it, like really putting a lot of strain and torque on that area, and wasn't really pushing the ball down the field in the couple of clips that I saw. It was all very short, but he looked fine. And then the two practices on the Tuesday, he took half the reps. Masoli took half the reps, and the reps that Nathan took, everything was within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Wednesday, similar, but he did push the ball a bit more. So I think we all expected, and Buck Pierce admitted to this at the start of the week, the expectation was he would progress and add throughout the week. So it was a big surprise that he didn't do anything yesterday. Did some work on the side, but in terms of actual team reps, 0. Now, when he was in, he looked fine, but again, wasn't really testing himself. So, was this a case of, they tell me it wasn't a setback, okay? So you believe them. Is there a case of he just wasn't feeling right after a few workouts, or is there a case of maybe he said to them, "Look, you've shown us what we need to see. Let's just take Thursday off, Friday off, and you'll be even that much better for Saturday." Never know, but I just don't think that's how they're wired on the preparation side to do all of this and then still have him play.
After last week's game against Winnipeg, where Jeremiah Masoli was in, I watched bits and pieces of it. What did they have to do better? How do you think they will attack or try to attack the Riders if Masoli's in to try and get this win at Mosaic Stadium?
It's a good question because, the bottom line is don't turn the ball over, right? And that's what Masoli did 3 times. Like, don't turn the ball over. So it's not necessarily how you're going to attack the Riders. I think this Rider team has given up some passing yards, right? Like, I do think they need to tighten up in that area. They've generated some sacks. They've been good defensively against the run. But, they've given up 22 first downs per game. So even a quarterback like Nick Arbuckle has been able to functionally move the ball, and some backups that they faced have been able to functionally move the ball. So I do think you can throw the ball on this team. So, we'll see. They're not the Winnipeg style where you keep everything in front of you. They do play some man and do some different things. So, can you find some matchups and push the ball? I don't know. But, for Masoli, just be efficient and don't turn it over. That's really what they need right now.
What's impressed you about the Riders so far after 3?
Trevor Harris, as always, but he's not going to be playing in this game. But, I think the way they've navigated their injuries, quite honestly. AJ Ouellette has been good since Kadeem Carey got added, right? And defensively, or offensively, you lose Kean Schaefer-Baker and you lose a Sam Emelis, and they've got a couple of these young guys that have managed to step up and do some really good things in the receiving corps. So I really like how they've been able to continue to move the ball. Mark Mueller and Harris have been doing a really good job of just kind of taking advantage of matchups and what they have to get the ball down the field. And again, defensively, this was a team that maybe didn't pressure the passer a ton, but secondary-wise, they were so good. It's been a little bit of the opposite this time around. They are getting some pressure, but they're not necessarily airtight in the secondary yet, but they're, they just find ways, right? I mean, whether it's Mario Alford taking off and scoring a touchdown on a return to end the game, they just find ways. Corey Mace has instilled that belief in this group.
Dante Myers, right? Game last week, unbelievable. And Mitch Picton's look good. Maybe it's Joe Robicelli's. Who knows this week? You talked about injuries there, and Sharky and I yesterday were on the show, and we're kind of going through, I don't know in depth enough every team's injuries, where they land. He said Saskatchewan's a little bit above half. There's some teams that are worse off. injury front for the Lions, what can you tell kind of the casual fans? Where are they maybe a little beat up? Maybe where are they susceptible besides quarterback?
Well, the biggest change for them is Deshaun Allen at right tackle, right? He's not going to be playing. Not sure if they're going to get him back. So that's a big loss for them. He was their big free agent acquisition this offseason, kind of like what Saskatchewan did with Jamarcus Hardrick, and you lose him early in the year, and it changes the complexion of how your team is built. So that's a big loss. Chris Schlugger, who's generally been a guard when he's been in for this team, moves over to the right tackle spot. So we'll see what that looks like. Defensively, they don't have Jonah Tavai, who's been pretty good for them this year, at the nose, right? He's been able to get some upfield push. He's a short, squat player, kind of like Stove Richardson in Winnipeg back in the day, and he's been really quick. They don't have him, so Marcus Moore gets back into the lineup for the first time this season. So injury-wise, I think those are the big things. They're still trying to get Josh Woods back. He's been kind of week to week, and I know he's getting closer. Tweaked a hamstring this week after being a full participant in day one. When he eventually gets back, this guy's one of the best linebackers in the CFL for my money. And that's going to really, really improve their front six. But they haven't had him all year, and they won't have him again on Saturday.
Around the league, Winnipeg wins last night. We talked about that off the hop. Elks were hanging in there for a bit. I thought maybe my little sprinkle on something crazy to happen, but it wasn't the case. Winnipeg looks really good. If you were kind of power ranking teams around the league right now, would Winnipeg be the top team? What are you seeing?
Montreal's the top team for me.
Montreal,
I think they're the deepest on both sides of the ball. Davis Alexander's a stud. I know he's hurt, not playing this week. It's McLeod, but pretty good backup too, right? So they've got depth and talent and speed and physicality at the receiving spots. They're so good defensively. The run game, when you make a decision to move on from Walter Fletcher, what are you going to get consistently there? But when Alexander plays, they're just so dynamic. And I would put Winnipeg 2 and Saskatchewan 3, right? And I think Winnipeg has got a ceiling, and we saw a bit of that ceiling yesterday. I debated this with Naylor earlier in the week about Winnipeg or Saskatchewan as the class of the West. And I like what Saskatchewan's doing. I just think, Winnipeg won their first 2 games, and Zach Collaros hadn't hit his stride yet. Nick Dembski hadn't hit his stride yet. Dalton Schoen hadn't hit his stride yet. They don't have Brady Oliveira back yet. Well, some of those pieces started to hit their stride last night. And even though we got the best performance from Trey Ford we've had this year, it wasn't enough because Winnipeg does what they do, especially in the fourth quarter when they've got a lead. They just run the ball down your throat, right? So they just find ways. So I just think that their defense is better than I thought it would be. I mean, it was good late last year, but I just, we all thought they'd take a step back, and they haven't. I just think their D is so good. So I just think their ceiling to this point is a little higher than Saskatchewan's, but it's really, really close. And those 3 teams, Montreal, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg, are the clear top 3 in the league.
And I think Montreal's the sneaky home field advantage a lot there, right? Like a lot of people don't talk about. They don't lose a lot of games at that, and they get good crowds for what the stadium is.
And Saskatchewan, quite frankly, is not as good, right? Like it used to be a tough place to play. Crowds haven't been good enough in Saskatchewan. Winnipeg is the Cadillac. Like every time you go there, it's a sellout, and it's become a thing, and everybody wants to go. And so I heard before, they don't want to come to Saskatchewan on a Thursday. It's Saturday. It's early. Show up.
I think Coach Mace and the players will echo that as well. Trey Ford, you mentioned he had statistically wise, a nice night last night. I don't know. I watched the football game again just as a fan of the game, and it's not 1980 where Tracy Ham can rip around, and the athletes are so good nowadays. The guys, can he stand in the pocket and sling it? He's very athletic, but there was times yesterday, Farhan, he took off, started running. I was worried that he's going to get really hurt.
Yeah, and that is a fair concern with Trey because injuries have been part of his story, and it's probably been an underplayed part of his story. Just talk about the Canadian quarterback and the U Sports quarterback, and is he going to get a chance? All this stuff, but injuries have been part of that conversation. And look, I saw some good things from Trey yesterday. In that there were throws he was able to stand in the pocket and drive mid-level throws, right? Fade balls are easy. They're very forgiving, right? Not a lot bad happens there. You get a pick, okay, it's like a punt. But can you drive those intermediate throws? And he was doing some of that, which he hadn't necessarily done in the first couple of games. But he's still too quick to escape from the pocket. Now, he only had one downfield carry for just 6 yards in the last game, but to your point, there were times he was just running around trying to keep plays alive, and and there were some hope bets there. So I do think he's got to hang in there a little bit longer consistently. Now, you don't want to take away what his secret power is, but at the same time, he can't just win the game that way. Like, it hasn't proven to be successful thus far, and it'll continue to not be successful consistently if he does that. Yeah, he's going to flash. So I think the big thing is, it's not about just taking off and running down the field. He just wants to extend earlier than he needs to. He's got to hang in a bit longer.
Let's shift to hockey here. Evander Kane in the fold in Vancouver. That one catch you by surprise?
Yes and no. No, because the Canucks are desperate, right? This is not a destination franchise. As spectacular a city as Vancouver is, this franchise last year seen around the league by players and agents as one that was filled with dysfunction in the locker room, that eventually saw the coach step down. You don't know where it's headed. So they're not going to be at the top of anybody's free agent list, regardless of tax situation. So they've got to make some hope bets. And that means, reclamation projects, guys that are kind of, at a low ebb in terms of value, right? And they were lucky that Evander Kane wanted to come here. There were 3 other teams that were interested. I think on the surface, you look at that deal and think, wow, the Canucks just gave the Oilers a get-out-of-jail-free card on the salary cap, and they should have been able to get Edmonton to retain. But if there were 3 legitimate suitors elsewhere, that becomes difficult to do. So everyone in Vancouver, look, he's one of those players. Jake Virtanen was similar. When you're from here, everybody watches you forever, right? Like, if you do something wrong, everybody in Vancouver is going to know, and they're paying attention whether you play for this team or not. So the trials and tribulations of Evander Kane are not lost on anyone here in Vancouver, and the majority of fans in Vancouver didn't want Evander Kane back. But I do think with 1 year left on his contract and Evander Kane wanting to get another contract, the Canucks will probably get the best out of Evander Kane on the ice and from his behavior off it.
I think if the Canucks want to double down and give the Oilers a get-out-of-jail-free card, they could pick up Nurse, too, because it sounds like that he could be... And then, okay, last thing. Huh? Yeah, last thing for you. I saw the story today. Do you think they actually will use Demko as maybe trade bait?
I think they should consider it, right? I mean, they've got 3 goaltenders now. Archer Shilovs, who wasn't good when he was in Vancouver last year, just won the Calder Cup MVP with Vancouver winning the title there. And next year he's got to clear waivers to be sent back down. So I think he's part of the Canuck conversation again. And if you can clear out Demko and get some value from a team that thinks that he can stay healthy, kind of like the Evander Kane situation, right? Like, it's a low-cost bet, but the Canucks aren't going to want a 4th-round pick back like they gave up for Kane. They're going to want a meaningful asset, and I don't know if it'll be just enough to clear the salary. But I think it's in the conversation for sure.
Will be interesting. All right. Next week, you got the Professor, Don Hewitt. He'll be stepping in. So, yeah, you guys will have a good chat. Have a great weekend, and we'll see what happens in the game. Obviously, go Riders. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun on Saturday. Can't wait. Right on. Farhan Lalji from TSN joining us. He's always brought to you by the Cooperators. It's time to get financially fit. Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators invest in your future together. Break time here on the Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com. We come back. Mike Commodore, former NHL defenseman, Stanley Cup champ, all-around comedian, funny guy. Mike Commodore, we're going to talk some hockey. It is a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon, your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
You don't go to Country Thunder to see your favorite artist. You go to Country Thunder to see all your favorite artists. Country Thunder Saskatchewan returns with Def Leppard, Jason Aldean, Bailey Zimmerman, plus Nate Smith, Tyler Hubbard, Kip Moore, Tim Hicks, and so many more. Guarantee your your spot. Country Thunder Saskatchewan, July 10th to 13th in Craven. Tickets at countrythunder.com.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Calling all skilled heavy-duty mechanics. Core Industrial Services has an exciting opportunity for you. They're hiring a full-time heavy-duty mechanic to join them at their 9,000-square-foot shop in Rocanville, Saskatchewan. As a heavy-duty mechanic, you're responsible for performing maintenance and repairs on a wide range of equipment, from heavy machinery to light trucks and more. At Core Industrial Services, they believe in the power of teamwork. Apply today on their website at coreindustrial.ca or call them at 306-745-4844. Core Industrial Services, where expertise meets opportunity. Apply now.
The ball is snapped. He scans the field. He's going deep. What a play! Rider fans, make your own great play by going to riders5050.ca. You can now buy tickets for every Rider game, home or away. You can also sign up for the 50-50 Club and never miss a draw, including the weekly loyalty and early bird prizes. All proceeds support amateur football in Saskatchewan, equipping the heartland, and just maybe score a big win. Get your tickets today at riders5050.ca and go Riders! Riders 5050 is presented by ISC.
Let there be light. Introducing Green Frog Canada.
Did someone say Green Frog?
Not that Green Frog. Green Frog Solar Systems. Great for communities, small towns, city parks, and bike trails. As you walk along the path, the light brightens, then dims as you walk away, saving energy and allows you to see further. Proven to work in Saskatchewan weather and dark sky compliant. Federal grant is available.
Turns out it is easy being green.
GreenFrogCanada.ca, a division of Meadowman. You think, we do.
As a farmer in Saskatchewan, you're always thinking about growing, but you also need to think about, well, growing. That's why Connexus launched the Ag Grow Fund. It's a program specifically designed to help farmers like you grow your ambitions, with discounted rates on new fixed-rate term loans and mortgages. There's up to $2 million in funding available, with no maximum age restrictions or application fees. So what do you say? Let's get growing. Visit connexus.ca/aggrowfund to learn more.
Get it hot, get it fast. Western Pizza.
Dinner served.
What's this?
Pizza.
Looks like cardboard.
It is. Cut into a circle.
What?
Hope you're hungry.
You wouldn't order cardboard for dinner, and that's not what you get when you order from Western Pizza.
Think I'll order Western Pizza.
They've got their pizza down to perfection. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot, get it fast. Western Pizza.
This summer, if you're thinking of a new building, think Olympic Buildings. They're engineered from top to bottom to be better than the rest. Strength, solid design, and impressive good looks are all standard on an Olympic farm building. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steelcraft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
Sports Ticker, like you said, for Regina Steelcraft Doors. All right, if you haven't heard, Trevor Harris will not be dressing tomorrow. Lions in town to take on the Riders. Jake Mayer, in Jake we trust. Mayer's going to get the start for the green and white tomorrow. Western Canadian Baseball League, Regina beat Medicine Hat last night 6-5. Jalen Seward had a home run, and David Hankins, the winning arm, back at it in Medicine Hat tonight. Swift, Moose Jaw, and Weyburn all on the road tonight as well. The Toronto Blue Jays, they start a series in Boston tonight. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Some NHL news. Trent Frederick signs an 8-year deal with the Oilers. 3.5 Schmil. Darnell Nurse rumored to be going. Draft tonight. Roger McQueen, top-ranked Saski player. Injury plague year last year with Brandon, but he's ranked 9th. Cole Resheny from Macklin's 19th. Lyndon Lakovic from the Moose Jaw Warriors expected to be a first-rounder as well. That is your Sports Ticker for Steelcraft Doors Regina. They're now into their new 40,000 square foot showroom and warehouse. Anything you need when it comes to garage doors now. Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. Let's get back into some hockey talk here. We teed it up. One of the all-time characters in the league, retired Stanley Cup champion defenseman Mike Commodore. This interview in total is going to be dropping on the Monday nooner next week. It's about an hour long, really good stuff. But we had a chance to talk to Commie, and we asked him about a lot of current events when it comes to the NHL, Stanley Cup, Mitch Marner, Jonathan Taves, a number of other things. Here is Mike Commodore on the Western Pizza guest hotline. First off, the Cup, the final. Florida wins it again. Oilers seem to run out of gas. How do you see that final? What's from your lens? How did the final go?
Yeah, I think it. You know what? As crazy as this, I think everybody thought that Edmonton had a way better chance of winning this year than they did last. And even with, they got down 3-0 last year and they rallied and got it to game 7, which was impressive. But now looking back, they were way closer to last year than they were this year. And I want to say that, even through the first 4 games, they win game 1, come back and they tie it up through 4 games, you're looking good. I'm like, you got 2 games at home. You got to find some way to win 2 of them. And then basically they got their doors blown off for games 5 and 6. And, I think at the end of the day, you know what? I love Connor McDavid. I love Leon Draisaitl. Everybody does. But at the end of the day, you're riding those guys hard. And at the end of the day, you look at that Florida Panther team, and it's pretty hard to tell one player from another. They all play hard. They all play defense. And I think at the end of the day, they just smothered the Oilers, and they had really no answer for it. So, defense wins titles. I guess defense want to mix goaltending in there too. I don't want to sit and shit on, it's easy to just blame the goalie. I get it. And you know what? That one goal in game 6 there, where I think it was the 3rd goal, I don't know what the hell Skinner was doing there. It looked like he could have caught that puck with his bare hand if he wanted to, I think. It looked like he just kind of maybe lost it. I don't know. I don't want to blame it on him, but, at the end of the day, I think I saw a quote from Bowman saying that he likes his decor. I don't know about that. If that's the way he's going to go, and I don't know how much he can do, but, if he's sitting there thinking, man, the decor is fine, it's everything else, I would have some pretty I would disagree with that. I mean, maybe they need to go shopping for a goaltender, which that's not easy to find, and that's usually not cheap. But that decor, to me, needs some work. And you know what? That Ekholm got, I thought he played, I don't want to be too hard on him. He didn't play great, and he's their most. But at the same time, you just get dropped into the finals. You haven't played in 2 months. You're playing against Florida. That's not ideal for him. But that decor, in my opinion, needs some serious work. Evan Bouchard, if you're going to sit there, Evan Bouchard wants $10 million. Hey, look, Evan Bouchard can put up some points. Evan Bouchard can handle the puck and run a power play. Evan Bouchard went on a power play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Hey, it's points galore. Evan Bouchard can shoot the puck. There is no question. But if you're going to pay him $10 million, Evan Bouchard playing 30-some minutes a night, and you need him to play some D, I think, he is every once in a while, he is casual. And if you're going to pay him 10 and have $19.25 million tied up with Evan Bouchard and Darnell Nurse, Edmonton, I think we got a problem. But we'll see. I don't know. It's an interesting situation the Oilers are in.
We are talking to retired NHL defenseman and Stanley Cup winner Mike Commodore here on the Western Pizza guest hotline.
Okay, so we live in a world where social media, we're seeing Florida in one, after they win the cup at the club and all that. 19 years ago, you won the cup. Obviously not as much social media, and it was kind of under the radar. How in one were you compared to them? And if there were videos, how ugly would it be?
You know what? I would say that, you know what? I've seen some clips. God, you know what? Hey, look, I'm glad those guys are having fun. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, they're having a pretty aggressive celebration, no? I mean, on stage, dropping F-bombs, sending Instagram videos thanking the players' former teams. Like, that's a big, like, hey, middle finger kind of. They are getting after it. I would have to say, like, I was in one the entire summer pretty much. But, like, I mean, I was on stage. And for me, when I'm, you know, in one, I think less is more. Like, there would be no videos of me, like, up there just dropping F-bombs. And they've had an aggressive celebration. Which, hey, you win, you do whatever you want. They've won 2 in a row. Good for them. But, yeah, they are sending it down there in South Florida.
Okay, a couple just quick ones to this, and your thoughts quickly. How will McDavid? How long is he going to sign for? Is he going to do like maybe a 4-year kind of thing in Edmonton? What's your gut saying?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question. I would have. I don't know, but I'm sitting here. They got his former agent in there. You know, they've hired people that basically a bunch of people in the Oilers are like came from, you know, have some relationship with him. Last year when Draisaitl, I didn't think Draisaitl, I'm like, you know, there's no way he's going to sign 8 years. And then what he did, I'm like, okay, there's no way. I would think, like, if I'm Draisaitl, I'm talking to Connor and being like, hey, dude, like, if I'm signing this thing, you better be around. I mean, I would assume there was some kind of conversation. So, God, I think, but then his comments after, but you're emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's there to stay. I think if I had to bet on it, he's there to stay, but I'm just basically going on Draisaitl's comments. Like, I don't know. Can he bail on that? I don't know. It's interesting.
But Mike, when he has that presser late last week where he says, I got to think it over with my family. He's got a wife and a dog. Like,
right.
Those weren't really reassuring comments, were they?
Yeah, but why would he want to play his cards? Like, he's in a negotiation too, right? He's not going to say, I'm going to, you know, like.
If he's relying on the wife and the dog, they both probably want warmer weather. So Edmonton's in trouble. I guess depending on what kind of dog, but
she doesn't want to have another bistro in Fort Saskatchewan, which you know well. She'd probably rather have one in Manhattan or Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Okay. What about where do you think Mitch Marner ends up? Not in Canada.
I would. God, I've never met Mitch Marner. He's been taking grenades, and you know what? He's a good player, but rightfully so. In the playoffs, hasn't been a good look. His last game as a Leaf, it's like, dude, you're going to sit there and yell at the bench, like, giving it to everybody, and then go out and play like that? Like, come on. You're like, that's a bad look. If he leaves in free agency, like, I've read some, like, those Leaf fans are going to be all over him. Because basically it's like, you know, you didn't get rid of me because you need me, but then when you need me to show up, I don't. Now you're going to lose me for nothing.
Yeah,
I would think if I'm Mitch Marner, I don't want to go to Toronto much anymore. I think I'm going to the Western Conference. And I think if I'm Mitch Marner, I've had it with all the media. Like, I think I'm heading to the States and I'm heading west.
Anaheim. Just be a guy.
Utah. You go there to Utah. I went to a game in Utah. It's awesome. But I don't know. I think if it was me, I would be. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, money talks, but I would think he's heading to the Western Conference and in the States.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
I don't know if you know this guy, Jonathan Taves, but him signing back in Winnipeg. Like, what does that say about him? How much do you know about him? Did that surprise you?
Yeah, you know what? Full disclosure. So Jonathan's been in Arizona a little bit, and I played golf with him like November, December. I played with him a couple times.
What's his cap?
And, oh, God, he's probably like I don't think he plays a ton. He'd probably be like a 8 to 10, something like that. Yeah, he's all right. And so we went and played golf, and I have a little bit of a relationship with Jonathan because he went to North Dakota. I did too before him. And Jonathan and I played the only time I ever got invited to play for Team Canada was the 2007 Worlds. And that was that year where he won. He was in North Dakota, but he won the World Juniors, and then he came and played with us with the men, and we won there too. And anyways, when I went, the North Dakota coaches were calling me. They're like, hey, convince him to come back to college. I'm like, all right. So I watched this guy play in practice for like 3 days. I think I just watched the exhibition game, and maybe this was still during the round robin. And I'm sitting there with him and his parents in the Team Canada robe. And I'm like, hey, look, I'm supposed to come here and convince you to go back to college. I go, look, I can't do that. I go, if you want to go back to college, by all means do it. But I'm like, if you look like you're ready to play to me, look, whatever's here, barring injuries, it's going to be there next year. But I'm like, dude, you can play. You do whatever you want. But anyways, back to the point of the story. So I've known Jonathan for a while. We're not best buddies or anything, but we say hi to each other. After golf, I'm like, so what are you going to do now? So this is like November, December. I'm like, so what's the plan now? Like, front office? And he's like, oh, I think I'm going to play. And I'm like, I thought for a half second, I thought he was joking. He hasn't played in 2 years. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, I think so. If I can get my body in line. And I'm like, okay, man. Well, I hope it works out. So anyways, fast forward, like he got things together and he feels better and, to go home. And I texted him after he signed. I'm like, congrats, man. I hope it works out well. Like, good for you. So.
And again, that podcast and the Monday Nooner and the full interview with Mike Commodore will be dropping around Canada Day. Great guy, played at UND. The interesting thing is his junior A numbers. Before he got his Scully, like he had no idea. His junior A numbers weren't very good also. But then he goes to UND, wins a national championship, gets drafted really high. Awesome interview coming up there. It is the Sports Cage. We're going to talk some local golf when we come back. It is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620.
You stand there, hands on your hips, tears brimming while you stare at that beautiful lawn. No one understands the physical toll it takes to make your lawn this stunning except you and Ibarasa & Sons. Ibarasa and Toro have your back, literally. Toro's patented My Ride suspension features a floating rear seat and front shocks that take all the bumps so you don't. Don't wait for the grass to turn green. See the 2025 Toro lineup at ebarasa.com before they sell out. ebarasa.com.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. Combined with a LiftMaster opener, it's the right choice. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. And a LiftMaster opener. 100% made by Canadians for Canadians. Steady, tariff-free pricing and great quality, no matter what.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Another one bites the dust? What a weird saying. Are they swallowing the dust? And why is it so dusty in the first place? So many questions, but what I don't question is where I get my tires. When your vehicle needs the right tires, see your local Cooper tire dealer. Your local Cooper tire dealer carries Cooper Cobra Instinct tires. They bring your car to a shorter stop on wet roads and have decisive maneuvering and sporty performance. Dust yourself off and ask your local Cooper tire dealer about Cooper Cobra Instinct tires today.
Nelson Homes is having a summer blowout sale on quick possession homes that you don't want to miss out on. Get free delivery anywhere in Saskatchewan on select in-stock show homes and spec home RTMs. For more information, visit their website, homes.nlc.ca. Or for general information, call 1-800-661-6534. That's the Nelson Homes Summer Blowout Sale. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949. Farmers, grain, poultry, cattle, barn, house, and more. A generator is a necessity. Whether you need to keep operating during an outage, keep water bowls from freezing, grain drying during winter, or need power at a remote location, you need a generator from Shorty Generators. Now is the season to buy or service your generator on the farm to be sure you always have power when and where you need it. And Shorty services all makes and models, including PTO generators. Shorty Generators. Power where you need it. ShortyGenerators.ca.
620 CKRM and Harvard Media believe in being accountable to you, the listener, which is why we participate in the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council. We are committed to upholding the highest standards of broadcast excellence and adhering to the codes and conduct administered by the CBSC. If you have a comment to make about our programming or a concern about something you heard on our station, contact us on our website, 620ckrm.com. or visit the CBSC's website, cbsc.ca.
Celebrate Canada Day with deals during the True North sale, on now until July 1st at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Level up your backyard grilling and save up to 30% on select outdoor cooking items. Or put your best foot forward this summer and save up to 30% on select footwear. Plus, save up to 50% on select hunting gear, like hunting packs and trail cams. Explore our great outdoors and save at the True North sale, on now at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's.
Got PC Optimum points? Celebrate Canada Day by getting even more for your points during the Super Redemption event at Shoppers Drug Mart from June 27th to July 2nd. Get up to $900 off when you redeem up to 500,000 PC Optimum points. Wow, that's a lot of free stuff, like beauty, everyday essentials, and anything that will make your Canada Day super. So don't miss the Super Redemption event only at Shoppers Drug Mart. Proudly Canadian owned and operated. Restrictions apply. Minimum spend required. Details in store.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. From skid steers to tents to power tools, anything you need to rent for that summer job is at Prairie Land Rentals. Deal with the owner, 600 Albert Street. Welcome back to Sportscage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
Welcome back to the Sports Cage, where local sports is our priority here. We've been doing this Prairie Golf Gems now for about a month. Last week was Madge Lake. We've done some great ones. Thanks to everyone again who's texting in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. If you think that we should be checking out your course in your area, it's all brought to you by Flooring Superstore in Regina on Park Street, to 25% off right now on most of the warehouse. They bought before tariffs, so Trent Dickin and his team can help you out. Flooring Superstore, they love supporting local. That's why they're supporting the Prairie Golf Gems segment, and they've been in business for over 30 years. So thanks to Flooring Superstore Regina. This week, it's Highway 11. We've all kind of cruised by it. If you drive, and if you've driven Highway 11, Davidson, kind of the middle way, not totally exact in the middle of Saskatoon and Regina, but it's Davidson. And on the highway, if you're going to Regina, you see the sign just past Davidson on the right, golf course, and it's the guy in his slacks taking a swing. It says grass greens. It's the Davidson Golf and Country Club, just a 9-hole course. I've had a chance to play it, but that's our focus this week on Prairie Golf Gems for Flooring Superstore Regina. Jason Shaw from the Davidson Golf Course, kind of in between Saskatoon and Regina, is here. It's tucked off the highway. If you drive by it, you see the sign. Jason, thanks so much for doing this and showcasing the Davidson Golf Course.
No problem. Anytime we can talk to anybody about our course, I'm more than happy to do it.
So it's off the highway there. Lots of people drive the Highway 11 either way. What can you tell us about the course? I've had a chance to play this years ago. It was a lot of fun. It was a tournament. Grass greens, only 9 holes. How do you explain the course to people?
Well, yeah, it's your typical small town course. There's a few trees on there. We don't have any bunkers, so there's room to work your way around. We've got 3 sets of tees on a few holes, so if you're a more experienced golfer, there's some challenging holes. But if you're a beginner, there's enough room out there to kind of work your way around it too. So kind of got a little bit for everybody.
And people are always, wondering about fairways and greens and tee boxes. Things in good shape out in Davidson?
Yeah, it sure helps when we get the rain. It allows us to kind of look after the course a little better. So that's kind of the key every year. If you get that rain, it makes a big difference.
What about for public? So if people are around the area or they want to make the drive out and play it, if they've never played it, you guys, I'm sure, welcome tee times. People just call and then maybe walk through some of the rates. Yeah, for sure. We do have tee on. But yeah, we're not real busy where people can kind of just show up and
get a time. I believe it's about $65 for 18. It's about 45 for 9. So it's pretty reasonable, and most days you can find a time without any trouble.
And power carts, or I know it's an easier track to walk, being just 9 holes, but do you offer both?
Yeah, we've got carts and walking options there too. Yeah.
I notice on the website that you guys do have DavidsonGolfCourse.com. You got ladies' night and men's night and a seniors' day. Do people have to sign up for that in advance? Is it kind of a drop-in thing? How does that work?
The ladies in the kitchen do a real good job providing meals and stuff, so they like to know a little bit ahead. But if you showed up that night, they'd definitely find you something to eat. So.
Yeah, because it looks like this week, or maybe it was last week, it says on the Facebook page, roast beef and all the fixings for ladies and men's night. That sounds good, Jay. Yeah, no, it was a great meal. So yeah, we had about 30 men out last night, and I think about 25 women. So it's tough in May to get people out for it, but when June and July start rolling around, then things are a little busier. Do you guys have any tournaments out there of note?
The Cyclones have a big one every year. We're going to do a hole-in-one tournament. So the Cyclone tournament's July 19th. Our hole-in-one tournament's going to be July 26th. So those are the two that are on the schedule upcoming.
How long has the course been around, and how long has it been grass greens?
Oh, that's a good question. The course has been there for a lot of years. Grass greens, I want to say probably about 25, 30 years ago.
Right on.
And we put a new clubhouse in about 15 years ago. So
where do you
always
Sorry,
there's always limits to what we can do, just as a small town course, but we try to keep upgrading things like carts and, equipment and whatnot. So.
Do you guys see, obviously you would have a lot of people from the area that are members or people that come in and the regulars and all that, but do you have a lot of people that kind of stumble on it for the first time?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that come off the highway. I know Rider game days, there's always people that plan a trip down to Regina from Saskatoon or, north of Davidson. I'll stop and do some golf and then carry on to the Rider game. So yeah,
that makes sense.
We get a lot of traffic.
That makes sense. Or if you got a buddy in Saskatoon, a buddy in Regina, and they want to get a little little skins match going on, meet halfway.
For sure. And like I said, if people decide that day that they want to come, there's always tea times or what we can always work people in. So.
Okay, so just and again, give the phone number and the online option. How should people get a hold of the Davidson Golf Club?
The golf course, 306-567-4242 is the number. And the T-On website, we're listed on there, so people can always go on and look and see what times are available.
Right on, Jason. Well, thanks so much for doing this. I know it probably takes a lot of people to make this happen, and continued success out there.
Great. Thanks a lot, Barney.
Thanks to Jason Shaw again from the Davidson Golf and Country Club. Good job to everybody who's involved in the course out there, making it happen. Just one of those great small town feel-good things. Again, ladies' night is every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Men's night every Thursday at 5 p.m. I'm sure that's a runaway, a lot of Thursday nights. And then the veterans, the sweet swingers, the seniors day is Monday mornings at 10 a.m. So like you said, call in advance if you want to go check one of those out. Yeah, and it's right in between Saskatoon and Regina. Going to a Rider game, didn't even think of that. Yeah, I'd be busy there. The Davidson Golf and Country Club. If you have a course that you think we should showcase on Prairie Golf Gems for Flooring Superstores Regina, let us know, 936-6262. We're always looking, and maybe we've played it, maybe we haven't. And we'd like to showcase as many as we can this year. Thanks to Flooring Superstore Regina on Park Street, Trent Dickin and his team. Up to 25% off most of the warehouse right now. They bought before the tariffs, and over 30 years in business. Flooring Superstores in Regina. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com. And as always, we are on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CK.
The Country Music Rewind with Colin Lovequist.
We're going to celebrate Canada Day. We are going to feature Canadian talent. We have so much of it, and we've got all the best coming up. The top 25 songs about Canada.
The Country Music Rewind with Colin Lovequist. Brought to you by Crawford's No Frills. Saturday afternoons at 4 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on Country's Greatest Hits. 620 CKRM.
Sometimes you need the kids, the cousins, and the neighbors to pitch in and get her done. That's just one of the beautiful things